Hey, Laura.
Hey, Leslie, how are you?
Good. Thank you so much for joining our summit. I know you've joined our prior summits and you had so many good things to say. So I'm excited to hear you talk about weight and how menopause and hormonal changes fits into all of this, which I think will be very relevant to a lot of our listeners. But before we start, can you tell everyone a little bit about you and your background?
Sure. Laura Artigas. I know Leslie from business school. And since we graduated school, I've worked in consumer health products, most of which have been targeting women and women in midlife, even going so far as working on a brand in menopause. So I know a lot about women's health and a lot about this particular stage of a woman's life.
Awesome. And this is going to be really relevant because I know one of the things people struggle with in this stage of life is weight management, which is the subject of our summit. So tell us about that. I know a lot of people just happen to gain weight in menopause, and I think it's easy to just say, oh, it's the hormones. But what is it really about?
Hormones definitely play a role. That's definitely a big part of it, but it's not the entire story. And so, yes, as our estrogen levels drop, our fat tends to shift to the belly, like from our butt, if you've noticed that. But at the same time, our metabolism slows down, our muscle mass declines, and usually you see your stress and your sleep going haywire, which creates a perfect storm for struggles with weight management. In fact, there's a study that shows that women will lose 0.5% of their muscle mass each year at the same time that they gain 1.7% in fat. And that's with no changes otherwise. So it's definitely something that a lot of women experience. And it's not just about what you're eating.
That's disturbing. So it's basically, if you've gained a pound or two, you may have actually gained more fat than that, but you've actually lost muscle mass. So it's almost a bigger problem than you might realize.
Yeah.
Tell us about that. Why does the muscle mass even matter in this case?
Sure. Well, muscle is our body's engine. It burns more calories than fat. And so as we lose that muscle, our metabolism takes a hit. And so even if we're eating the same, what we do in our midlife, in our 40s and 50s, to manage our weight needs to be different. We have to do more strength training. And this is a lesson I need to take for myself. It's not just about being toned. It's about literally helping your metabolism by building that muscle back up as you're losing it naturally when you age.
Okay, got it. Because I think for many people, exercise means like running or getting on one of those elliptical machines, but it doesn't sound like that is really going to help with this problem, or does it?
Well, it's certainly important. Definitely keep up your cardio. I'm a runner. I run 3 times a week. It helps me with stress for sure, stress management. But what I need to do, what we all need to do at this stage in our lives is start working in more of that strength training to build up our muscles. So think about, certainly weights are great. Get some for home if you don't have any left over from the pandemic. Resistance bands work terrific. Even lifting your kids. I know, Leslie, you have 4 that you can lift. Some of them might be too big. But that's what will help keep your metabolism ticking and help you manage your weight.
Got it. So it doesn't have to be like formal exercise. It can just be thinking about strength training in your day-to-day life as well.
Absolutely.
Okay, awesome. And I think that will be helpful for women who are maybe doing the exercise for their weight management, but not seeing those results, is maybe making some tweaks instead of just doing the cardio, making some tweaks to add in the the muscle management as well, can actually start to move the needle a little bit more.
Yeah, absolutely. Working in that strength training on top of the cardio.
Okay, got it. Okay, you mentioned stress management, which I think for me too, exercise is a great way to manage that side of things as well, in addition to the physical benefits of it. But tell us more about that. What does stress have to do with this whole process?
I'm sure anyone watching this can relate to this period in your life being maybe peak stress. We have work. A lot of us are pretty advanced in our careers at this point. We have kids that we have to parent, and we have our own parents who are aging and often need more support from us than they used to. And just life in general. Midlife can be a real pressure cooker. And so with stress, increases levels of a hormone called cortisol in your body. And cortisol is a fat storing hormone, especially around the belly. So there's good research that shows cortisol levels do tend to spike in midlife, probably for all of the reasons I just listed. So if you're constantly feeling wired or exhausted, it's not just in your head, it's literally impacting your body's ability to lose weight.
Oh, interesting. That's helpful because I think for a lot of us, we think about stress as this other thing. It's like, well, I've got to manage my weight and then there's stress over here, but it sounds like it's all very connected.
Absolutely.
Okay. And then what about sleep? I know you mentioned that at the beginning when we were talking about menopause and the challenges of this time period. Tell us more about sleep.
Sure. So this is also something a lot of our viewers can probably relate to, sleep being challenging to get enough and good quality at this stage of life. In fact, half of women in perimenopause and menopause have sleep disturbances. So you're not alone. Poor sleep can affect your hunger hormones, which means it can make you crave sugar. And you're also, if you're tired and exhausted, less likely to move your body and get all that strength training and cardio in, and your insulin response can take a hit. So it creates this cascading effect. I didn't even mention stress. Of course, stress is impacted positively if you get enough sleep. So if you can get enough good quality sleep, your stress levels go down, but you also won't trigger some of these weight management challenges around insulin response and sugar cravings. So it's not just about feeling rested every day. It's really a weight management tool.
That's so interesting. I would not think sleeping more or better would have anything to do with weight management because you're literally just lying there. But it sounds like it is really a critical component. That's super interesting. Thank you. And then all these problems, right? Like so many problems. Sleep, stress, the fat gain, the muscle loss. What would you recommend people actually do about this? And I'm keeping in mind too that it can be easy to be overwhelmed. So what would be like your top couple things that someone could start working into their routine?
Yeah, absolutely. I think first, shift the mindset that what worked in our 20s is not going to work in our 40s and 50s. There's a lot of great content at this summit where people can get specific tips on all of these things too, which is terrific. But that first mindset of like, we have to think differently about weight management in our midlife for all those reasons is kind of the first step. So kind of the reminder of what I mentioned before, get that strength training in, focus on building your muscle mass 2 or 3 times a week, eat more protein. Yes, more chicken, more salmon to help maintain that muscle. Think about your sleep hygiene, dark rooms, no screens. Consider taking magnesium. That works for a lot of people to help them fall asleep. And, take your stress levels seriously. It's not just about, managing your feeling stress, but it can have this cascading effect against your sleep and your weight management. So lots of tips I'm sure are coming from other members in the summit around meditation, yoga, setting boundaries, whatever works for you. But that muscle, protein, sleep, and stress management.
Got it. And I love that menu of options because not everyone's going to be able to check every box at the same time. But if you can add 1 or 2 of these things into your routine, it could make a big difference. I'm so glad you mentioned magnesium. Vitamin E's, as many of you know, our immune support product has as much magnesium as 5 cups of spinach. And I know we've had a couple of Sleepy Girl mocktail spinoffs that we've come up with where you can add a vitamin E's into some refreshing beverage for the evening that'll help you get that sleep. And then the protein side is interesting because you said eat more protein. And does that have to come with the muscle exercise too? Is it like if you're going to do the muscle exercise, eat more protein, or should you just do that anyway?
You should do it. You should do it anyway, and it will help the strength training really stick. If you think of those really burly guys that go to the gym and then they have a big protein shake afterwards, there's a reason they do those things together.
Got it. Okay. Now that makes a lot of sense. So I think given all of these challenges that you've suggested, all these changes that come with this phase of life, do we have to just like accept all of this? Is it like, okay, well, I'm just going to gain 15 pounds. It is what it is. Or is it still realistic to try to lose weight or change our body at this point?
Hey, it's realistic, but you do you. Everyone do you. I don't think it's about the number on the scale. It shouldn't be about the number on the scale anymore. Muscle weighs more than fat, right? So don't be, so concerned about that. Just do what feels good. All of these things should make you feel strong, energized, and confident. How your clothes fit versus, again, that kind of number on the scale. So it's realistic to manage weight. And you also should just, love yourself and love how you look every day.
I love that, because I think when weight management comes up, everyone's thinking about like, punishing themselves or restricting themselves or all these things. And I love what you said, because it is about supporting what your body needs and giving it what it needs, as opposed to like fighting against it, right? And then the more you do that, give it the sleep it needs, the exercise, the better the results will be. I love that.
Exactly. And punishment isn't sustainable.
No,
it's going to be sustainable.
No, totally. I completely agree. Well, thank you so much, Laura. I really appreciate you sharing your insights today.
Sure thing.